Good morning, everyone. This is Professor Hills, a short video for our class, Introduction to Ethics, Philosophy 2306, here at St. Philip's College for the Maymester of 2024. And today is Tuesday, the 14th of May, and we're in the first week of our intensive 3-week class. And so I just wanted to give you a couple of quick announcements. Number one is that you'll see that tonight, the 14th, midnight, is the first assignment, but it's really just the introduction. It's go in, introduce yourself, and then read through and comment on at least 2 of your classmates. The reason we're doing that is that it's kind of essentially just practice for how we're going to do the assignments for the rest of the course, meaning that you're going to have an assignment, which is like read chapter 1, and then pull some concept out of this, some key definition, some term, and then apply that to the case study. So the first case study is about Jenny Lake. So what you're going to want to do is read chapter 1, which gets me to the second point, the textbook, which is now available and is there through the modules, and put a link in there for you. But the process is going to look like this. You're going to read chapter 1 and then pull out some key aspects, some definitions. And in fact, even at the beginning of each of the chapters, you'll notice there's like a little quick review box that has the key definitions. Pull one of those out and bring it to your essay. We're going to be writing short essays responding to the questions around the case study. To start off with, it's just as simple as, what do you think about Jenny Lake's decision? Was it right? Was it wrong? Why is that the case? And applying one of the even, again, just like a definition of what's the definition of ethics? What's the definition of morality? And bringing that and including that in your answer to the Jenny Lake case. That's why you got to do the reading first and then answer the question, okay? So the first one of those, like I said, the introductions are due tonight at midnight, Tuesday the 14th. The Jenny Lake case study, the first kind of real thing we're doing, is on Thursday the 16th. So you're going to want to read through the first chapter, look at the case study, and then write a response. And I've already gotten questions about, like, how long does it need to be? And look, most of them are what essentially is like a page long. Some are longer than that, page and a half, 2 pages, just depending on the person. They can be pretty brief if you're concise. And number 1, you bring in something from the chapter. And number 2, you answer the question that is proposed in the case study. So you got to read 2 things, the chapter, the case study, put them together. And again, most people do that in about a page worth. It doesn't have to be a long formal essay, but it can't just be a couple of sentences. You can't just shout a few sentences into the phone and call it even. It doesn't work like that. So it does need to be a formal response, because you're going to get graded on it. During the long semester, when we do this over 16 weeks, there's more time to read and think and apply and write. So I'm try to be a little bit lenient about shorter, more concise responses as we get into the essays. But look, there's going to be 5 of them and then a final exam. And we're going to do all this in 3 weeks. So, like I said, it's intensive. It's a lot, but it's doable. And I've had students tell me that it's a lot, but it's doable. So I think we can make it happen. So you're going to see, we'll get into a rhythm. Read, look at the case study, bring them together, and then comment on at least 2 of your classmates. So again, just want to make sure we're clear about this. The first thing you do when you go to the assignments is you post your assignment first, your essay. You post that, and then you'll see the ones from your classmates, and you got to go through and comment on at least 2 of those. You can comment on more if you want, but you got to do at least 2. Inevitably, people post their essay, and they get pulled away, or their phone rings, or something happens, and and they only do one and not two, or they don't do any. They just post their essay and don't comment on anybody else's. You got to do both things. You got to post your essay, comment on at least two of your classmates. All right, so that's going to be the process we're going to use over the next couple of weeks to get all this done. And I'll just post this up for you now. The final exam is over some of the key definitions and concepts that you're going to use and apply as we go through. And then also there's an essay. But the essay that you write for the final exam 3 weeks from now is going to be one of the 5 that you've already looked at and done. So when we get to the final exam, you can go back, pull down one of your essays, and treat it like a first draft. Fix it up, clean it up, expand it. Look at it now that you're on the other side of the whole class. How would you make it different? But again, that's helpful because you're not starting from scratch on the final exam. On the final exam, you're essentially rewriting and expanding a first draft, which is going to be one of the 5 essays you do over the next 3 weeks. Like I said, we'll get to more on the final exam later. We got time for that. This week, right now, the textbook is in the modules. It's in the links. You need to read chapter 1 and then look at that case study about Jenny Lake. And look, let me just tell you right off the bat about Jenny Lake and the case. It's a sad story. There is just not a happy ending here. It's a terrible, tragic, problem because she's choosing between 2 terrible options. But it's a real case. This actually happens more often than anybody would like. But it turns out that one of the reasons we look at ethics and we think about it ahead of time is that we're going to be faced with difficult ethical decisions in our lives. If you've got family, if you've got friends, believe me, at some point you are going to have to make some tough choices. So we want to think about these things ahead of time. Hopefully that will help us when things get real down the road and we're dealing with our own very difficult ethical choices. So that's part of why we're looking at it. It's part of why the Jenny Lake case is a tough struggle right off the bat. But it does set the tone for the seriousness about the importance of ethics, why we need to wrestle with it, and the fact that sometimes there's not good options. And in the end, we got to think about our own values and our own decision-making process and how that can help guide us through the process. Okay, so like I said, it's Tuesday the 14th. Introductions are due tonight. Great. The textbook is in the Canvas page. Read chapter 1. And then once you get done reading chapter 1 and you've taken some key notes on, the key terms, definitions, concepts of that chapter, apply them to the case study involving Jenny Lake. And let me know what you think. I'm looking forward to it. Both to the introductions tonight and then our first real essays that are going to come in Thursday night. I'll get to those on Friday and grade them. And I'll try to turn things around pretty quickly, given the fact that we're going to be doing this about every 4 days. So it's going to be a lot of reading and a lot of writing, but you're going to handle it. It's only 3 weeks. All right, take care, and I'll talk to y'all again soon. If you got any questions, reach out to me either through Canvas or my cell phone number, which is posted in the Canvas page. All right, take care. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.